Hey.
Whoa, watch out.
Watch out. Hey, everybody, and welcome to the Evolution of a Podcast.
We only have 15 minutes, so evidently we're taking it really fast.
My name is Rich.
And I am William.
I tried to come in with some crazy energy so they would be pumped and excited for the show.
Yeah, I can't phrase it to that bar, man.
Yeah, I took it down a little notch. I took it to a 7.
Cool, dude, because I only have enough cocaine to go to a 7.
So, Will, this is episode number 26.
Number 26.
And today, the kids are going to have to turn off the lights, grab the teddy bear, and snuggle up to your favorite loved one.
Even if it's the one that's under the bed that you don't tell anyone about.
Well, yeah, we're getting dark this episode. This is going to be the dark, demented episode.
Yeah, if you turn on the lights, you lose.
Well, this would be more enjoyable of an episode if you turn off the lights, because we're going to talk scary shit this episode. Yeah. Dude, no, seriously, we're talking about a deranged Japanese mass murderer.
Yeah, and then when we're done talking about my stuff.
and then when we're done talking about what I did on Friday, I was thinking of a cool name for this segment that we're going to have.
Murder.
Oh, that's dope.
Kill.
I was thinking Death Tales. Ooh.
Death Tales?
Ooh. Yeah. Death Tales. Ooh.
Oh, that's like Chippendales?
No, like DuckTales, but Death Tales.
No twerks.
No twerking.
Okay, good, because
So let me tell you about a crazy fucking story. So crazy, you're gonna believe half of it. Ready?
Well, that's pretty optimistic. Okay.
So, dude, on June 8th, 2001, a horrible massacre occurred at Akita Elementary School in a rich suburb of Osaka, Japan. No, this is very true. Everything I'm going to tell you...
Oh, this is not the game. Okay.
Right, this isn't...
Please proceed. My bad.
8 children were murdered, and 13 children and 2 teachers were also injured. The man who committed this horrible crime was 37-year-old Mamoru Takuma. Before we talk about the massacre, let's go back and find out who Mamoru Takuma is and maybe see what led to him doing this heinous fucking act. So, born in November of 1963 in Atami, Japan, as a child, Mamoru Takuma displayed unusual and antisocial behavior. So basically, dude, he would lay down in the middle of the freeway, in the middle of traffic, and stop cars.
We all been kids, though.
Well, he would light cats on fire, fatally murdering them when he was a kid.
I wasn't that smart. I put him in the bag, though.
But you took him out of the bag. We're cats out of the bag now.
Yeah, but they were dead.
Yeah.
I mean, I said that it's a new era, a new live of cats, and I won't do it again, I said.
So during the second year in high school, Takuma attacked a teacher and then ran away from home for months. He basically dropped out of school.
That's a bitch move. Sucker punched a teacher, and he's like, I'm out of here.
He did not know how to behave socially. So he dropped out of school and worked as a gas station attendant until he enlisted into the Japan Air Defense Force. So basically the military, because, he needed to...
They have background checks. They don't look and say, well, it was kind of weird that he used to always do this and kill these cats.
These weird
things. And then the traffic thing's like, what the fuck?
Well, I mean, that's not something you put on your resume.
Well, I'm pretty sure when you're on a major highway, word gets around.
I'm sure. Well, obviously, we know about it. It was in all the research of this guy was that fact.
How come their military didn't have any of this? But one journalist calls one person?
He was actually discharged just 1 year later from the Defense Force for having sex with a minor.
Oh, it's so surprising.
This guy is not going the right direction, I don't think. I think he joined the military to try to change his life, but unfortunately
You think?
Well, isn't that why people join the military?
I think he might have went there to have sex with underage people.
maybe that was his goal.
Seriously, it's fucked up. Judging just by what I've been told about this guy, I wouldn't take it off the list that he was like, as soon as he got discharged, he goes, nailed that.
Yeah, mark that off the bucket list.
Wow, that was easier than I thought.
Well, that seems to be most of his life. I mean, because...
Oh, spoilers, bro.
So, around, say, 1983, he was arrested for driving backwards down the freeway, but he was released after he was found mentally unfit.
But he was able to drive backwards on the freeway.
Even in high school, his dad tried to put him into a mental institution, and they turned him away because they basically said he wasn't crazy enough.
Well, yeah, I mean, obviously, he was the perfect amount of sane to get into the military.
Now, in 1984, he was arrested for raping a woman, get this, while collecting rent for a condo management company.
You know, they're looking at him like he's not able to think enough. I think he's able to think too much.
Right.
Like, how do you multitask that?
Well, I mean...
So he was like collecting money with one hand? He's like,
no.
hey, I gotta handle something on this side.
See, and all I'm thinking is, dude, I think I've seen this Pornhub video. I think I've seen a Pornhub video.
You're getting hard?
What I'm saying is, dude, the guy, the rent collector that goes over to collect rent.
Oh, that's my shit.
He's like... Well, I think he took it up a notch. He definitely raised the bar in what
he raped the bar.
He raped the shit out of the bar. So because of this, he was sentenced to 3 years in prison. So no joke, he fucking got caught and he fucked up and he finally get punished.
It didn't seem
for
like
his crime.
he was trying not to be caught.
This is kind of just a laundry list of horrible things that this guy has done in his life. But if you put them all down on a resume, it does not look good.
Well, it depends on what you're trying to get as a job.
Right, I guess so. That's true. I don't know why you would put that on the resume.
I mean, I wouldn't either, but I was assuming it's probably to get something similar as a job.
So 1989, Mamoru Takuma gets out of prison. After he's released, he moves to Akita, Japan, and he found work as a bus driver and a garbage man.
So he's still allowed to go around people.
So, yeah, that's what I'm saying, dude. Do they not do background checks?
They do not have enough people, I guess, to do public service jobs. He's like, you know what? Yeah, he might have done that, but he has good people skills.
He's really
He's
good
an
with
intellectual
people.
he's a silver
He's
tongue
only
fox.
raped 3 people.
I mean, yeah, when his hands are idle, they're dangerous. But the way he's able to give customer service, good feedback, mostly.
Well, as you can see in this next bit, his customer service wasn't that good because in 1998, he was fired from that job because he assaulted a woman passenger on the bus because of the smell of her perfume. In that same year, he was arrested for assaulting his ex-wife.
Wait a minute, he had an ex-wife?
Not only did he have an ex-wife, he was married
Fucking Mamuta.
4 times. 4 times this
To
guy.
the same wife.
So either they have it's really hard to find, a spouse in Japan, or
Well, he's just a little bit of a raper. He's not a...
or maybe what you said was right. He has some good customer service skills.
Oh, yeah.
He knows how to work them.
He's a silver tongue fox, I'm telling you. He's that guy is just a linguistic professional. He'll give you your satisfaction, then he'll take it away real quick.
Yeah, they forgot to mention in these notes how amazing of a con man he is.
Yeah.
Guess what? Mr. Mamoru Takuma found another job.
This is the same Mamuta.
Yeah, same
Okay.
guy.
Yeah, that's cool. It's good for their story to be the same one.
Yeah, we're talking about the same
Yeah.
guy whole episode. He found another job as a janitor at a local elementary school.
That checks out, though. You know, it's a local one. He's a janitor.
Right. So how long do you think he lasted in this job?
Probably by the time they let him in the door, he's just like a rabid dog. He just runs towards people.
Well, I don't have the exact time that they fired him, but I know why.
No, you don't. You're bluffing.
In 1999, Takuma dissolved a tranquilizer, temazepam, into the tea that was served into the teacher's lounge of the school, sending 4 people to the hospital.
Is he like losing his touch on
What?
reality?
So because of this, Takuma was arrested and sent to a psychiatric hospital where he was diagnosed with schizophrenia.
That's a cop-out.
But he later tried to jump off the roof of the psychiatric hospital.
Yeah, that's what you would try to do if you were trying to get people to think you're schizo.
Yeah, and he tried to commit suicide, but he failed.
Oh, he can't even kill himself?
Yeah.
Yeah, you know what made me want to kill myself? The fact that I couldn't even successfully kill myself.
So, dude, he only stayed at that psychiatric hospital for a month. They released him.
He's got work to get to.
He's got
jobs out there to do.
Yeah, I got jobs to take away from people.
You know, there's not a lot of people in that country.
So guess what? He gets another job. This time as a taxi driver. He only lasts a month in that job.
Let me guess. It was probably from natural causes, like maybe the taxi broke down or something. Just was not able to run.
Nope. He actually assaulted a bellhop at a local hotel.
but like he got in the wrong car, and the bellhop was probably drunk, right? And he obviously didn't get out of his place of work, which would be his vehicle,
Right.
to go into a hotel for some odd reason
Yeah.
and fight a bellhop.
Yeah, and he even broke his nose. So he fucked this dude
I
up.
guess he wasn't on his hops.
In May 2001, after being kicked out of his apartment for throwing trash out the window, he
Did
voluntarily.
they not see? I'm telling you, they're like, hey man, don't poke that bear.
Is someone not getting the memo
you're
on
gonna
this
go up to
guy?
him right there and tell him you're kicking him out for throwing trash out his window. You know what he's done.
Takuma actually admitted himself into a psychiatric hospital for depression.
Let me guess, it all went okay.
No, he actually checked himself out the next day.
Oh yeah, because he was like, see, I can do it too.
He's like, oh yeah, I'm done. I'm all good. I'm ready to tackle the
Yeah,
world.
he's like, you know what? They were right. I have to look internally, and there's something wrong with me. Like, it's not the jobs.
Yeah, but more importantly, what's wrong with the Japanese mental health system
Well,
that keep letting this guy
I
out?
think it has something to do with Hiroshima.
Wait, are we the cause
We
of this?
dropped the bomb on them.
So anyways, if you remember the beginning of the story, I said that the massacre happened on June 8th, 2001. And now we're up to that point right now in the story.
Oh, dude.
Yep.
Here it comes.
Before we get to this horrific
No.
fucking massacre. No, we're not playing a game.
Oh, cool. I don't.
But there's a crazy fucking really fucked up twist to this whole story.
If you tell me you made this whole thing up, bro.
No,
Okay.
it's crazy. Are you ready for this twist?
Yeah.
So, dude, have you ever heard of Japan Airlines Flight 123? It is only the deadliest single aircraft accident in aviation history.
Talking about the Malaysian flight.
This is way worse.
Really?
Oh, yeah. August 12, 1985, the flight suffered a sudden decompression 12 minutes into the flight and crashed into a mountain. There were 519 people on board.
What?
Well, the crazy thing about this story is a United States Air Force base in Yokota, Japan, heard the distress calls from the plane and prepared a search and rescue operation and had a helicopter there in 20 minutes after impact.
Are they allowed to do that, though?
Well, that's funny that you asked that because they radioed the Japan authorities claiming more than 25 to 30 walking wounded were walking around after the flight. They asked for approval because at that time there was, I guess, a treaty that they needed approval to land their aircraft
I wonder
there.
why they were so sensitive about us. Were they okay with it?
No, the Japanese authorities told them to stand down.
So they said it in English.
I don't know what they
Come on,
basically
man.
said, don't do that.
It's probably Morse code.
So the Japanese military didn't send rescue until the morning. And they only
Why?
found... Well, apparently it was too dangerous to send a rescue crew.
Dude, these guys
at night.
went across the sea and crashed and kamikaze bombed into ships. But it's like, hey, man, it's too dark. There might be monsters. They took the risk by getting on the plane. They knew that there was a chance.
It's kind of crazy because they only found 4 people that survived this crash. I mean, it was a horrible crash. They're on a mountain all night, overnight in freezing temperatures. So the medical staff found bodies with injuries suggesting that, people might have survived the crash only to die from, the shock and the exposure of the cold temperatures. And also like from injuries that if attended to earlier, that they might have actually saved their life. Like these people might have actually lived had, like you said, they didn't fucking wait till morning. And
they should know how pussy the Japanese rescue force is. I would never fly at night. I wouldn't even go outside at night. What have we been talking about?
Mamoru Takuma.
But what I want to know is what's that have to do with Hakuna Matata?
Mamoru Takuma.
Yeah, that's what I said. I think you're throwing a little bit much on the end there, but it was pretty much the same.
So the reason why I brought up Japan Airlines Flight 123 is because Mamoru Takuma claims that he was on that flight, that he was a passenger on that
I'm
flight.
surprised he wasn't working there.
He claims he was on the flight, and there was a huge conspiracy to hide the fact that he was on the flight because he was not on the flight
Well,
manifest.
he's been nothing but just honest.
He says that they removed his name from the manifest and that they're trying to hide the fact that he was on the flight. According to the official report, only 4 survivors, and they were all women. Let's entertain the idea that he was actually on this plane. And let's go with that story for a second. So he claims that he had survivor's guilt, since the airplane crash. And basically, he's become disgusted with everything. I mean, he claims that he tried to kill himself several times, but couldn't. He says that he wanted to do something to get caught to get the death sentence. This was his motivation to do what he did on June 8th, 2001. We're back to now this.
Okay.
The
This is
massacre.
Man, wow.
We've told you the story of Mr. Takuma. He's reached his boiling point, and he is
He feels like
ready
he's
to
been
pop.
wronged. Like, of course. I mean, he's been nothing but good.
What? Have you been listening to the same story?
Hey, man, they say there's 3 sides to each story.
On June 8th, 2001, the day Takuma was supposed to go to court for the bellhop assault, remember that?
Yeah. Man, this guy is just a 3-hour movie.
He took 10 times his usual prescribed medication, then went to Aikita Elementary School, a school for privileged children, as I mentioned earlier. He was armed with a 12-inch kitchen knife.
Something tells me he wasn't working as a lunch lady.
What he did was he walked into a first grade classroom with kids that were around ages 6 to 8, and he started stabbing them at random, just chasing them through the hallway. Children were stabbed in the backs, their torsos, and their throats. Like, he had no remorse for what he was doing. Like, he just went all out. The coroner afterwards said the wounds of the children that passed away were so, like, you could tell there's no thought
sympathy
behind it. Yeah, it was
and he
just
pulled back on it. Yeah.
right.
Fuck this guy, dude.
Right.
I say a lot of jokes and stuff, but fuck this guy.
Yep. Yeah. Exactly.
Dude, what a fuck, dude. Nah, man. Like,
So
I don't give a fuck about this guy. They should just they should have shot him when they caught him on site.
So during the whole process, there was an announcement over the loudspeaker that sent children and teachers like running in a panic to save their lives. The attack only lasted about 15 minutes and ended with Takuma, who was taken down by 2 substitute teachers. 8 children dead, 13 injured. During his arrest, it's said that he was kind of confused. Like, he started repeating, I went to the elementary school. I went to the elementary school. I went to the Then he switched it up. He started saying, no, I went to the train station and stabbed 100 people with my knife. I did not go to the elementary school. In his head, maybe he was trying to set up an alibi. Like, no, I didn't go to the school. I went to the train station and stabbed one. I don't know why that would seem better.
I think you're trying to. Well, if anything, I mean, the crazy thing worked for him once, right?
I think he just maybe was.
Maybe he was actually crazy.
Maybe he's trying to convince himself, like, I didn't stab children.
Yeah.
I stabbed people at a train station. And that's not as bad as stabbing children.
Yeah.
So, dude, he was arrested, and now the trial starts. This trial lasted a long time, 20 months long.
A guy who might not have been or might have been on a plane that survived that crash, he would never do that to children.
Well, that's interesting that you bring that up.
Was that an argument?
Well, the defense actually used that as an argument. Like,
well, they don't have much else to go on.
Yeah, exactly. How else are we going to get this guy off? Takuma was kind of an asshole during the whole trial. He started yelling things at the family of the victims, like saying he wished to use gasoline.
Oh no, this is actually a good move on his part. I've seen this always work.
And he also wished that he attacked a kindergarten so that he could attack more people and faster.
So he's like, I just wish I had more painful ways of doing this faster.
Well, what it was, dude, he definitely thought he would be put to death if he killed the children of the elite and the intelligent. So he was quoted as saying he wanted the public to know that even the children of the rich and powerful could be killed in just 5 seconds.
Yeah, because they're children.
Right, and you're a fucking
That's why we have a society
12-inch
where
knife.
we like treat people reasonably. Because their parents are rich, they didn't ask to be born into a rich family.
Well, he took it out on their children because he knew that's what was precious to
Well,
them.
not only did he take it out, he did it in such a painful fucking way.
Horrific, horrible way, cowardice way.
And then, and then had the audacity to say, the only thing I wish is that I went and hit even smaller
did it
kids
faster, yeah,
with gasoline too.
yeah,
Because he would have been able to cover more floor.
right.
Like, I don't think like some people deserve a trial.
And his main goal was to basically do something so bad and horrific that the government would put him to death. And this is how he chose to do it.
Well, he should have got his wish.
The day of his sentencing, he was thrown out of court by the judge because he was, verbally assaulting the family's victims, the victim of the family, victims' families. You know what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, he was
He's being an asshole.
the guy's just completely a fucking sociopath.
Yeah, degenerate.
He only cares about himself.
When the judge was kicking him out of the courtroom, he's like, well, I'm going to die anyways. Let me say my last words. And the judge wouldn't even let him fucking speak.
Good.
Yep.
I would have said, yeah, go ahead. As soon as he started talking, I put a bullet in his fucking face.
Right. Give him what he deserved. So he wasn't even there when they read his sentence.
Oh, poor guy.
That they were going to sentence him to death by hanging.
Well, they should hang him, resuscitate him, hang him as long as they can until they can't bring him back anymore.
Right. He definitely wanted to die as quickly as possible. And guess what? He got his wish on September 14th, 2004. He was executed. It only took a year for him to be hanged, which is like considered way quicker.
That's an express lane.
Than the normal. While he was on death row waiting his hanging, he got married again.
Oh, who's this lady who's like, man, he checks every box down.
I guess this is like a fetish. She followed him through the trial and basically was infatuated with him and wrote to him and said, will you marry me? And he agreed. And
that girl's obviously a fucking future psycho.
Why are they allowed to get married on death row? That's kind of weird, right?
Because we want to make them comfortable.
Before we kill them?
Yeah, hey, matrimony till death. So it's like, yes, I will marry you until one of us die. Because I know what that is. And it's very soon.
So she wrote letters to him and basically showed emotional support while he's going through his tough time.
Hey, we'll both get through this. Well, I will.
Crazy fucking story. And let me ask you this. Like, have you ever heard this story before? This happened fucking 20 years ago, dude.
Dude, I feel like going out there now and like finding justice. Like it's sickening. And can I dig him up?
And then kill him again, hang him again. There is one crazy last kind of...
You better not say you made this up, dude. I'm fucking pissed.
Nope, there's just a weird, I guess another twist to the story, or add to the twist to the story.
He was dead the whole time.
Mamoru Takuma. So after he was arrested for the school murders and police raided his apartment, they found a couple things that were a little strange. One of the things they found was handicap porn. Apparently,
so he was fine psychologically.
So apparently,
just a normal dude kind of stash of porn. What's wrong?
Dude, when you get into a life-threatening plane crash and survive something like that, you need something extra in your porn.
Or you grow up thinking lying on the freeway. You would probably do that too. So I don't think that validates the plane story, if that's where we're going.
No, it doesn't.
But also, I mean, just maybe if you're just a normal dude from Boston and you're like, you come on out here having a good time, not really any crazy things happen. Maybe you stumble upon it and you're like, hey man, that guy kind of looks like me.
Hey, whatever works, right? You know what might actually prove he was on the plane?
If we watch it?
One other thing they found, allegedly. This wasn't in all the sources that I read. Only a couple sources said this. Another thing they found while they raided his apartment was a life jacket with a serial number that matched Japan Airlines Flight 123.
So what you're saying is that he probably bought that online somewhere. You're like,
was eBay
it was
big in 2001?
conveniently close to the mentally challenged porn. It's like alibi.
It comes with it. The life jacket.
This explains this.
From Japan
Surprised he didn't
Airlines.
put the porn stash in the fucking vest.
Was he right all along? Was there some weird conspiracy to hide the fact that he was on that airplane?
Maybe he's an MK Ultra that went rogue.
What if he was MK Ultra and that's what they programmed him to do? Was do that.
To stab a bunch of kids?
Yeah.
And he's obviously not in a position where he's remembering any of that, if that's the case. Even a good dog who gets rabid has to be put down.
What it does, dude, if anything, is we can learn as a society from people like this, because Japan since then has changed their outlook on mental health and has really focused on spending more money and putting out more resources to help and benefit people with issues like this guy had.
It just sucks what had to happen.
Right.
Like long term, we'll never see the good that it does because we can't predict what could have been and what has been prevented. You would like to think that they didn't die in vain.
Right. Right. Also, another thing is school safety. Something that I think.
Yeah, the kids should have had guns.
Well, the teachers now are being taught self-defense.
I was kidding. The kids should not have guns.
No, I know you were kidding. The teachers are being taught self-defense and other things,
or just carry a knife too.
Other ways to handle situations like that.
Maybe we got to get the drugs out of the schools.
Wait, the drugs weren't in the schools. He had the drugs.
I don't know. I'm disgusted by this. And I'm trying to find the humor in it. And then,
well, the humor is he's dead, so that we can laugh at.
I hope there is a God, and because then I hope there's a hell, and I hope that guy is fucking getting the worst of anything he ever imagined.
Yeah. He's getting 10 times the stabbings that he put out.
Maybe he has to listen to this podcast.
And that wraps up Death Tales. Ooh. Our first.
Well, I'm still traumatized. You fucked up trying to get me on that. Still thinking about this. He's like trying to get one in. He's a scumbag. That's what it should say on his tombstone. Hope he didn't get a tombstone.
They actually removed his brain.
Before he did all this stuff?
No. After.
He's like, oh, our bad.
After they hanged him and he died, they removed his brain to study it and look at it and be like, what the fuck is going on with this guy?
No, somebody has it as like a souvenir. What do you think, though? I know you asked me. Do you think that he was on the plane?
I think that makes the story more entertaining.
You don't want to weigh in because you know they're going to find out eventually.
But no, I don't think he was on the plane. I don't know why he decided to go that angle. Like you said earlier, we're like, what was the purpose of that? Do you think he survived the crash and he was just jerking off all over the place?
No, I think he was pretending like he did and it turned him on. No, maybe the fact that his own people...
Oh, that's his fantasy, was to be on that flight.
Yeah, he was hoping he was going to survive the hanging, too. Because that's, erotic asphyxiation.
Right.
Little did he know that they don't let him jerk off while he does that.
Did we just figure some shit out?
I think that we've just cracked this case. Why?
I think we need to bring him back to life so we can kill him again.
I am seconding that. I think maybe we should have allowed him to say his last piece. Maybe he was going to say all that. Let me ask you this last thing. So do you think it's smart to not put the name out there of the person who is doing these malicious things, like somebody goes on a murder spree? And because you don't want to make them famous.
Glorify it, right?
But also you kind of want to reference to him. I mean, how far do you go with that? Do you go, hey, remember the time from this time?
I think the good people will choose to hear that as a crazy story, like we do. But then the evil will identify, and because he actually did inspire, I guess, a couple other mass murderers, and they said when they got arrested that they were doing it because of Mamoru Takuma, and he kind of paved the way for them.
All right, cool. So, guys, as the saying always goes, if you're going to kill a bunch of kids, you better hope I don't get to you first.
Oh, man, or we'll do a fucking episode of Death Tales about you.
Yeah.
And we'll see you next week on Evolution of a Podcast.
All right, if you're not evolving, you're dissolving.
Oh, yeah. See you next time.